Let me live out my dream. Let me live out, that's what I intended to be. If you doubt on me, then I can probably see why my success is not what you expected of me. But I'ma live out my dream. So let me live out my dream. Let me live. Let me live.
Check. Y'all tuned in to another episode of the LABL podcast or Label podcast, Leading Be Legendary podcast, whichever way y'all calling it by now. Just make sure you searching LABL podcast on those search engines to find us. I'm name tag Alexander. I'm your host. We on SoundCloud. We on Mixcloud. We're on Anchor FM. Where else we at? We on Apple Podcasts, of course, Stitcher, and I want to say TuneIn, Google Play, and if not, Spotify by now. It should be coming pretty soon. Anyway, got a special recurring guest on here. Dean Garcia. You gonna say "Hey," and I didn't even introduce you yet? What is this, man?
Hey, let me get hyped for myself.
Anyway, he gonna ad-lib his own shit. Anyway, we got Detroit song. Nah, I ain't gonna. I hate that. Don't you hate that? It's like this shit is worldwide. Detroit song, But anyway,
I am Detroit song though.
Technically, we are, but I don't know. I was just kind of introducing on like a worldwide. Whatever. I'm overthinking it. Dean Garcia. What am I calling you? Brand manager? Is that what I'm calling you?
Yeah, man.
I hate the word brand, man. Ugh.
Well, we can talk about that a little bit too.
Let's get into. I just hate that word, man. I think it's just overused now.
Well, I can agree with that.
It's just really what is a brand? What is a brand actually?
A brand is just really like an idea, right?
Right.
It's just whatever symbols or words or pictures you use to represent who you are.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's it.
But just on a surface level, easy answer. I don't know, man. It's like everybody says. I found myself saying, like, yeah, my brand. It's like.
Well, you know what really fucked it up? When people started spreading like this stupid ass philosophy that you are your brand.
Yeah. Like,
'cause that's not really true. Like, it's certain stuff. So I run a company called Humble Fly. Shameless plug real quick.
No, shameless plug that shit, man. That's what this is what the platform is for.
Right. No doubt. So shout out to you. It's the label. But so I run a brand management company called Humble Fly. And the whole reason I started it was because I want people to be more honest about how they create and why they create. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of what we've experienced over the last couple of years, probably like the last decade, just kind of getting used to music being in the internet space.
Right.
Is just like who could be the loudest because you're competing with so many people.
Bunch of noise.
Exactly. And what ended up happening was a whole bunch of fake shit, and it discourages people who are really talented from creating.
Yeah.
Or it encourages them to create shit that's not really honest for them.
Yeah.
And so I saw a need for that in the marketplace, and telling people that you are your brand was something that like really irritated me. Just like, some of the reasons why, because it make people lie.
Yeah.
Like because they're trying to market themselves.
You forcing shit. Everything begins to become watered down because everything you literally do is you're attaching it like, oh, this is my brand. I get it. That makes sense. I definitely get that. I can see how.
Yeah. So I understand why you could be irritated by the word brand.
The oversaturation. Or how you feel like
not like the phrase.
What it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a buzzword. It's like
movement.
It's like swag. Movie.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We're going out.
Remember people tried to make movie a thing?
No,
it's a movie.
About to be y'all going out. It's not about to be a movie.
So, yeah.
About to have a good time. Why can't people just say that? We about to go out. It don't sound cool. That's what it is. Hell yeah, we about to go out. About to have a good time. like nigga, what?
Have a good time.
So you got right.
Some James Brown
type 60s. Like, or what if they was? No, I doubt they were saying that shit in the 60s. Movies weren't even to that level to where you could say that we about to go out. It's about to be a movie. You were just going out to have a good time. That was it. That's all that mattered.
Because that was enough. Like it didn't have to. Like hyperbole is something that like really kills shit, man. Because like, so I'm a writer,
Yeah.
and like, so words mean stuff to me, and it's like, by definition, like I take words at they at they face value, and like, but just like the way we talk
Yeah.
about everything is just like you gotta super hype it up, because again, that being loud shit with the internet and trying to figure out,
Exactly.
who can get the most attention, just competing with each other. And it's like, that's not really what branding, and that's not
Just
really
rise
what
up.
like
It's now you just
creativity
gotta
is
rise
about.
above the noise. So
So
what I mean, what's new, man? Like what's really been going on? Like I
exact.
know we chat obviously off the podcast, but just like for people that's tuning in, what's really even within like this past week or so, because I haven't recorded in a minute. For people that's been following the podcast, they know like okay, it's been a minute. Like he been kind of chill, but like what's new on your end?
Well, what's new on my end is, well, I know I told you a little while ago that I
Uh-huh.
had planned on leaving, the job that I had. And I don't really mind talking about the
Yeah,
job
that's
that I had because it was
some
really
fly
cool. I
shit.
worked for Nike,
And you got to wear
store
compression pants.
251. Hell yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're not going to talk about that on here. It's not a comfortable day. But anyway, so yeah, so it was a cool place to work, but you know me, I'm
Yeah.
definitely, pro entrepreneurship and being able to support yourself and being what's called
Right.
autonomous with, how you live your life and make your decisions. So I found myself with enough clients as a brand
Dope
manager
shit.
to quit my job. And so I know, yeah, so that's been going really well for me for like the last 2 weeks. It's been a really smooth transition. I've been able to come on board as the retail manager
Super
for
dope shit.
DSE at Grand. Shout out to James. I know, right?
I
So
just
this
need
is
him
actually his
to
10th
get
year in
the Malcolm
business.
glasses in.
I,
That's it.
man, you know what though? Because I don't know if he's gonna get them back, but if he doesn't, we could
And
get
for
Darren
people
over
that's
at
that's
Warby
that's
Parker
listening
to hook
that
you
aren't
up.
familiar, because what's the website? Because people that's you got out of towners listening, people in other countries. Like, what's the website for DSC so
Mm-hmm.
they can see for themselves if they're not in the Detroit area?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the website for DSE is www.d as in Detroit, S as in style, E as in exclusive,
Dope.
the word
There it
Detroit.com.
is, dscdetroit.com. And then for the people that's in the
You
Detroit
can see
area that may be
everything
tuning
there.
in, that's not familiar with it, where can they find it at? Like the street, side street?
Yeah, so it's actually, we're located at 202 East Grand River. So at the corner of Grand River and Broadway,
Hey,
right across the street from Punch Bowl
there it
Social
is.
and the
Yeah, he
YMCA.
got to for a lot of people,
Yeah.
when those Malcolm X glasses became in style again for, I want to say that might have been like 08, 09 era or whatever. I remember specifically.
He had him
There
in
it
'08
is.
because I remember
So
I
so
bought
it's
him for
around
my
about the time
21st
I
birthday.
imagine it,
But
because I had just we had did the Courtesy of Ambition EP, and I remember we was shooting for the styling on them video. I would probably hope people ever not search that video on YouTube. But anyway, trial and error, you live and you learn. Not that it was whack at the time, but if you look back, you look back and you go, oh shit, like, ooh, it's one of those type of shits. But yeah, he had the Malcolm X joints, and I always said I wanted a pair, and I will buy a pair, and I never ended up buying a pair, and then next, he just ended up not selling them no more. So I will hope. I know I can get them online. They probably still got them in other stores, like you said. My man's got them. I don't know. It was just something about buying them from DSC that just made it a little bit more special.
Well, the cool thing about DSC now is that, when he started off 10 years ago, he was selling a whole bunch of different brands
Yeah.
and, kind of had his own stuff in there. But about, 4 or 5 years ago,
because
he
now
went
all
like
the shit
full
that's
on
in there is just
flagship.
his. So, okay, basically
So,
the Malcolm X glasses, that wasn't his shit. That was somebody else's. Oh, now that make a little bit more sense.
yeah, that was something that he was buying, wholesale. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
he probably not gonna make no glasses. So maybe he'll have some, but he paints and he's a photographer. And
Yeah.
so not only is his shirts in the store, but it's paintings and photography and handmade jewelry. He makes scents, like essential oil
That's some
base
shit I need to
and
get back
candles
into,
and just
man. That
all
was
kind
real
of stuff,
therapeutic.
man.
Not painting per se, but just drawing. That was something like I didn't realize that until now. Like looking
Mm-hmm.
back, like being in high school and just drawing in my spare time. That was before I had, obviously a child and
Mm-hmm.
a job. That kind of just impacted that and rapping. And I mean, I was rapping then, but drawing was just like something else that was a passion of mine that I like. I wasn't like the greatest at it, but it was therapeutic. Um, what was I gonna get into, man? That's what we was gonna touch bases on. But before we get into that, I guess I'll just pretty much update on what's been going on with me, man. I just been getting back into the groove of writing. I've been wanting to record. I haven't really recorded. I guess what it is, I've recorded so much. Like it's stuff that it's stuff I let you hear that hasn't come out yet. So it's like I recorded so much, and I don't want to really just keep building and
Mm-hmm.
forth, even though it's good and a good exercise to continue recording. But as far as recording new music, I haven't done that in a second, and I really just been writing more so, just trying to build my way up to that. For people listening, me and Nameless been back at it, recording new material for another For Namesake project, and we really haven't discovered if we want to just go ahead and drop it as a whole album, or if we want to go ahead and drop it as an EP. Should we just release singles? And that's where it's kind of been at with that. We haven't really decided how we want to do it. We have the material. Obviously, I've been creating, but it's just like I know I'm in this space. I can't speak for Nameless. I'm in this space where me. I'm the EP guy. I will EP some shit up. I'll drop an EP, no problem. Hell, I'll even go to the extent to where I was talking about doing maxi singles again. Like, yo, it's a couple tracks. Here go the songs, and then here go the instrumentals for it, and they got acapellas. Y'all do what y'all do with that, cause it goes to the whole thing of what we want to touch bases on during this episode: playlist culture, right? So, what's your take on
Mm-hmm.
that as far as like playlist as it is music streaming? We know is booming. It's crazy. Like stream me here, check me out here, or stream my music on Spotify. That's popping off. It's only,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it's only getting better, because I know at firsthand as an artist what those checks look like because of the streams, and then just the breakdown alone. So like,
Mm-hmm.
what's your take on this? Like, what do you stand on everything?
All right, so this is my deal, right? And I feel like I kind of feel like
That's
pessimistic
interesting
about
because
it.
I thought you
If
was gonna
I'm
say
about to say
optimistic.
something, I mean, like, like I'm optimistic too, right?
Okay.
But like but it's gonna sound pessimistic, and it's probably because it's
That was today or
Mercury
yesterday?
retrograde and shit too. So like
Uh,
it started yesterday, but dig right. So just like on some communication shit, or just like how we live or whatever, we playlists are good because it kind of levels the playing field for artists if you know how to, do your back end work and, get to the people who
work.
influence these playlists and create them
Oh
or whatever
shit!
on these
Before you
different
even dive
streaming
deep into it,
platforms.
as y'all listening to this episode, I just created a playlist. As we know, spring weather. Well, we ain't quite got the weather just yet here in the Midwest, and definitely not on the East Coast for people
It's coming.
listening to this episode. But spring has hit, so I gathered this playlist called hashtag Nice Out. Simple as that. Everything on this playlist is not brand new songs. Majority of it is, but it's a mixture. It's a mood. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got some of the current joint. It's not all rap. I say it's a mood because it's the genres are mixed. You got some rap, you got some R&B, you got some soul. I mean, well, I guess it'll fall in R&B, but it's some joints on there. I'm gonna put the link in the description. Make sure y'all click that, share it with your peoples. That's vibing to playlist today. Oh, I said vibing. That's terrible. Share it with your people. It's hashtag Nice Out. Just be sure to search that on Spotify. You will see it. The first joint on there I got, because it's such a feel good song. It's called The One, which is on my current EP, Hello Victory, produced by Black Beethoven. Shameless plug. But what was you saying?
Yeah, so what I was saying about playlists is that it levels the playing field for artists
Yep.
everywhere if they know how to do the work to get to the people who are influencing and creating these playlists. But where it kind of is weak, it's like some for real weak shit on the public end, and just kind of represents how we live life now, is that with the internet again, it's like niggas really think that they live on TV. So it's not necessarily about
Mm-hmm.
experiencing an album anymore, but it's about setting a mood and, making it feel like you somewhere instead of like really being present where you are. And so like that's kind of how I look at it from a creative standpoint. Like as a, a person who's an artist and a fan of artists and shit like that, I still want to listen to
Right.
maybe 10 to 12 tracks at a time. Really nothing more than that, because
Yeah, that's too
17
long for
tracks is
me,
whack
man.
too.
I think you know what it
But
is. It's really, well, I can't even say it's because of the age range, because like we getting older, but it's like nah. I think even with the younger folks nowadays, like they don't even have time to sit down and listen to that many tracks. Like, have you? What do you ask when you listen to an album? I guess it speaks to that. When you listen to an album, are you sitting down literally for an hour? I'm pretty sure it's people that do it, but are you specifically sitting down for, and anybody that's listening that know me, chime in, drop your comments, let me know what's going on, or even if you're on SoundCloud, comment, sound off, let me know. Because are you sitting down actually for an entire hour consuming a project off streaming? Like a whole entire project, like, all right, let me take this hour to go ahead and listen to every song, every single song off here to know to feel like if this album is dope or not.
honestly, I
You see what
do,
I'm
but I
saying?
know that that's not everybody's reality. Uh-huh. But I also can say that it's the same thing for a lot of my peers, like me and my homeboys,
Mm.
like
Hey
homeboys.
man, we saying some corny shit this episode. I done
Me and my
said
piece.
vibing. You said my homeboys. I'm gonna fuck around and say posse. So yeah, me and the posse was hanging out.
So me and the posse, man, we still listen. We still like
Me and
get
the
together and be like,
posse.
yo, did you hear
That's
this?
fucking
Or
hilarious.
like we'll be playing. It get worse, bro. We'll be playing spades or some shit, and like we'll like drink a 6-pack to a whole album, like, or like whatever the fuck we doing, if we on the road or whatever. So it's like it's not.
Word.
And I don't drive, so I'm out here. So I spend a lot of time with my headphones, and it's easier for me. It's harder for me to pick a
That's
playlist
real.
than it
You
is
know
for
what?
me to
That's
pick
kind
an
of real.
album.
I
Like
know,
that's the
and
type
here's
of
how I
person
do
I
it.
am.
I
You
got
know,
a kid, so
so,
like a lot of times, let's say if I'm helping get my kid ready for school or something, she got her cartoons going, so her she focused, you know what I'm saying? But or if I'm preparing her meals
mm-hmm.
or something, or helping prepare meals, or if I'm cleaning up, you know what I'm saying? I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm probably, if I'm not listening to a podcast, I'm probably, a playlist might be going, but then if it's just like if I'm in that bag to want to listen to an album, then I'm listening to an album. It's not like that for everybody though. And I think it could
Right.
very well be just a younger generation where they like, hey, just run the playlist.
Yeah, because now we're talking about like kids who
Yeah.
ain't never like
Right.
went to
You
like
know what I'm
media
saying?
play or Target, like stood there for like
It
30
was a
minutes
thing.
and
We
like
had
tried
that
to pick a CD.
experience. Like that meant
You know what I
something.
mean?
Like literally,
These
yo,
little
that's
niggas ain't never even
wild.
previewed
I
nothing
literally
on
remember
iTunes
when
though.
Black
Ain't that
Album dropped.
crazy?
That was
Like,
'04, and my brother was like, it's crazy because around that same time, I think they were having Coats for Kids at Northland Mall. Rest in peace, Northland Mall. And I
uh-huh.
specifically remember my brother hit
That's
me
the
up. Hey, I'm on my way to Northland Mall. You want to roll with me? All right, cool. Yeah, I gotta go pick up this the Jay-Z Black album. That was a big thing. It was supposed to be Jay's last album. And who else? Oh, G Unit had just dropped the Beg for Mercy album. Both of them joints came out around the same time. I still remember that experience. We in Target.
uh-huh.
The other part of Northland, they done got closed down. They doing Coats for Kids. It's just certain experiences I remember, and I always share this experience about the Get Rich or Die Trying album.
Yeah.
I bought it on. I was in high school. I didn't have the whatever the albums was at that time. That was Get Rich or Die Trying. I'm sure that album was hitting for like $14.99. No. That
You
was
talking about the
Road 2,
movie
the actual
soundtrack?
album itself. They, obviously every high school at the time had bootleggers, right? So I remember specifically my man's
Uh,
looking out for me and gave me a copy, like, yo, because we rapped, and we was rapping in high school, so it was like, sometimes people looked out like, yo, yeah, you just owe me for this CD if you get this one. All right, bet I got you. Anyway, gave it to me. I checked it out, and this
uh,
around the time I was living off of we were living in a house off of the John C. Lodge Service Drive over on Tuller, and I remember my cousin, shout out to E Class, at the time he stayed off Livernois. I want to say the street was Stopel. Yeah, he stayed off there. We ain't too far from each other, but if you gonna walk, it's gonna be like a good 30 minutes plus, if that. Depending on if you walking at a regular pace, you might be pushing an hour. Anyway, I specifically remember having that CD.
Mm-hmm.
He would be the type to buy. He would buy the actual albums. He was that guy. But if it was like a mixtape, he would get the
I was
mixtapes
that guy too.
offline or whatever and put you up on the new people. But he would buy albums too. I remember he didn't have it, so I felt like I had to one up on him. I'm like, hey, we was already familiar with a lot of the 50 Cent mixtapes. But anyway, the experience was I remember having the bootleg and every single track was on there because the guy that was looking out, he was the guy that had the everything. Like, it wasn't just no bootleg rules like, dang, dog, it was only this many songs on there, and the actual album got this many. Nah, he had all the tracks on there. And I got it, and I'm like, hey, hit him on the house phone. Yo, hey, I'm coming through. I got to get Rich or Die Trying. It was a half day at school. I remember it was a half day at school because at the time, this is another part of the experience. At the time, the girl that I was dating, I knew it was a half day at school, so you know what I was trying to do. After school was over with, I'm trying to, you can come through, whatever. But that bomb, that failed. So anyway, I'm like, all right, bet. Hey, I'm coming through. Hey, at least I got 50. If he came through, it's like, all right, bet. I got to get rid of trying. Hey, cuz, I got it. Hey, man, bring it through, bet. Brought it through. Man, I'm buying. We listened to that whole album. We sat there. And I knew in my mind, I said, well, we got a half a day. Fuck it. I ain't got no homework, none of that shit or whatever. We about to bang this joint. So we listening to Get Rich or Die Trying, that entire album, just like, man, this shit is so dope. We didn't even think nothing about it being a classic at the time. We just knew it was a dope ass album.
You couldn't judge if nothing was a classic when the first came.
Now every time some shit dropped, it's a classic today of this is an instant classic. Like, all right, man, chill out. But yeah, that's the experience. And I don't think
I feel like your story is supposed to end with, and I smoked weed for the first time.
Nah, I
feel like that fall in here.
Probably smoked weed for the first time until I was maybe like 20. I know I was 20 when I finally smoked some weed, and it just wasn't my thing. People always say, well, maybe you had some bad weed. I'm like, nah, I know me. I'm no weed.
No, I really
I'm
just
like, it just wasn't my thing.
All
the weed had me out here bad. Like, if I like, trust me, my anxiety shitty as is. It's not, but I'm saying my anxiety shitty as is, so I can imagine if I smoke weed, it's gonna be 10 times as worse. Like, it's just I know it, so it's just like, nah, I'm good. And I'm the type that, like, if it's something that's like that and it's supposed to be therapeutic or just some shit that's supposed to like calm the worries for the time being, I'm gonna be obsessive at it and I'm gonna consistently do it. And next, I'm out here being a weed head and I ain't productive, getting nothing done. So it's like, it's not my thing.
Oh my god, you sound like a 90s Dare commercial.
A fucking Dare commercial.
That's fucking Derek Mothers against drunk driving ass nigga. God
the reason
damn,
shit smoke weed is because I have nothing against people that smoke it. I just know I'm pretty aware of the effects that it would have on me. I've tried it twice and I'm like, nah, no thanks, man. I'm good.
No, I feel you. Hey, you know what my favorite motherfucking story is about buying an album? Like going to the store to get it. I was going to Michigan Youth and Government. I was sort of kind of a nerd in high school, but not really.
Underachieving nerd.
I was like an underachieving ass nerd. The thing, this just makes the story funnier, right? Because the album that I picked
underachieving
up was
nerd that bought the college dropout album. This is for us.
But I was on my way to Michigan. But I was on my way to Michigan Youth and Government.
None of this shit matched, but it matched.
to act like I was loyal for the weekend. Nigga, it was like Dungeons and Dragons, but like Law and Order. So anyway, we took the bus, the little charter bus or whatever, from Northland Mall again.
Rest in peace, Northland
Mall. All the way up to Michigan State. Rest in peace, Northland Mall.
Man, people that's listening,
the Target not even open no more.
Mall. But I don't get it. Like, trust me.
You know what though? But real shit though. Northland Mall was the first like conventional shopping mall in America. That's real shit. So like, there's a piece of history for you. Not a child listening and shit. So it was a big deal to go to like Northland. And
that was not a big deal for everybody. Don't put that on everybody. Don't put that on everybody.
Like no,
everybody was recording in the middle of the damn mall.
It wasn't. No, I mean, it definitely wasn't a big deal then, but like, I knew people who like worked for him and like, that was like their first little hustle trying to get get on this
contractually
shit.
recording. No, I don't. Like, leave me the hell alone. I don't want to stand in the middle of the mall and record.
I don't actually.
Hey, wait, could you imagine that now?
So
I don't want to take you off your zone for the story, but could you imagine that shit now? With niggas having Instagram stories and Snapchat and everything, niggas, we working. Like, nigga, you in the middle of Northland Mall. You get it how you live, bro.
Nigga, no. What if it was a mall kiosk though that lets you like
nigga,
live stream?
That would have been going on.
Like
that would
or like a booth that
uploads
to their
SoundCloud. Don't get them. Don't give them ideas. Don't give them ideas. That shit is gonna get put in Fairlane and Somerset.
Nigga.
No, Somerset ain't gonna have that.
Damn, they about to close
ain't gonna have that
too,
shit.
ain't they?
It will go in Fairlane. I can see that
Somerset
shit
will
going in Fairlane and Eastland before it closed.
No, Fairlane
until they get a
like
fucking booth
low-key.
kiosk where you can live stream your booth recording. That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, we in the studio working, son. Like, that is hilarious.
So anyway, I'm on the bus listening to College Dropout. And nigga, you know that shit just started off funny as hell. But it was like by the time I got to Michigan State, I knew
Kanye there, he done got a hold of you. Like, nope.
The nigga got a hold of me. He got a hold to a whole bunch of people though. Niggas sort of, because you could tell, because like more people started finishing college.
But that is wild because
it was like
when you really, it was funny back then when you hear the sketches, or the skits, not the sketches, but when you hear the skits and then you listen to them now, like, damn, dog, that shit true. All that, you know. Yeah, like it was.
You was in high school, remember?
All I got
you like,
is
nah, nigga, fuck that. I'm about to go get a degree and shit.
No, I've never had sex, but I got yeah, really fast.
But I could come from changing your purse really fast.
Guess what? I got those degrees. Like, these niggas went to college, though. Yep.
Nigga said you get that shit tatted on your back.
That was Kanye's perspective, and it's like, we thought it was funny. Yeah, then you get older,
but it was also super real. Like,
that's wild.
The nigga wasn't even playing.
Yeah.
The crazy part is that it's worse now. Like, college probably cost twice as much as it did in 2004. And
I mean, super shout out to the people that go to college and make something of it, you know, as far as the experience, and then whatever they went, they feel to major in. But I remember just last year when everybody was excited about paying back Sally Mae and everything. I just remember seeing all that shit. I was like, I'm glad I ain't going to college, though. I'm straight.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I just like kind of like keeping in line with the conversation. Like, that's so like from that perspective, I definitely understand, you know, like how an album can like really impact somebody's life, because niggas really be making real life decisions off the shit they hear. I was telling somebody when I was kicking it at DSE yesterday while I was working, a good friend of mine.
You just said some heavy shit.
To Savannah Blue.
It just kind of done it before you said it. You dropping some gems and just be moving on about it like, hey, shit, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So anyway, I told the nigga, dog, albums did influence a lot of decisions that we made in life. How the fuck is a playlist gonna do that?
Bro, I don't think that a playlist can. A playlist kind of lets you. It lets you play.
I can play
like,
to.
This exactly. It's some shit for you to play. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you trying to set a mode. You trying to, like, you know, use your imagination to create some shit, and that's cool. But that don't really allow you the chance to.
It's a mood. It's just random. It's random moves. Like, depending on the mood of the playlist, some of it can fall in line with everything. But okay, I would say college kids. All right, okay. College kids, for the most part, probably do a lot of fucking. They in the dorms, all that. So playlists maybe could come in handy for that, because depending on a fire playlist you got, you know, like, oh, I know a song is on this. You throw that boy on shovel. This song fire. Bet this song. You know, all them groovy ass R&B. Damn groovy. I just fuck posse groovy vibing. Man, we fucking up, man. But those it's a vibe. But the R&B songs, like, you could just I got a dog ass R&B playlist myself that I know you send that out to be like, throw this on next time. It's going work. But I'm just saying, like, that can work in that sense, I think, or if like it's a party or whatever and you just throwing it on. Because let's take it back, like, you a college kid, you in the dorm, you about to you know, get it in, and that's
really all you used to make playlists for. You made it.
It's not popular with an album.
You made it for driving around. and for
It's not
church on
popping with an
Sunday.
album. It's
Like
not gonna work. It's gonna be some song unless it's just a consistently dope album. It's not. You gonna skip some tracks.
no, it's not the go to, and it's definitely better than the radio
Yeah,
and
like
like
you
the
just
Yolanda
you
Adams
know you
song,
and
you know,
you and me is stroking in on the
played
radio.
on
They
you
want
and
to play
shit.
some. They just want to
What are
play.
you saying,
This battle is
Yolanda?
not yours on 105.9. Like, oh my God, wait a minute.
Like,
A love
damn,
song
like,
just
wait,
went
wait,
off.
wait,
Why did
stop, stop.
105.9 just slide this in the mix? They just start playing this battle is not yours. Like, damn, like
They think you
right.
fell
We got to
asleep with the
stop
radio
now.
on. They like they
Kill the
trying to
whole
look out
vibe.
for you and shit.
But yeah,
They don't even
playlists
know they
that can
fucking shit.
work for those
Like,
situations. But that's just like that's crazy, man. I never thought about that as far as the impact that albums have had on people's lives.
I mean, it's just certain people. I think the people that you already used to putting out albums, because you know, like Kendrick kind of came at the end of that
Yeah,
wave, and you know, like Jay-Z was like, you know, like at the end of the last decade of the shit. But like, you know, like Damn and 444 is the last two albums that we were
that's
talking
what I'm
about.
saying.
You know,
That's
prior to
damn,
the
that's
end of
crazy.
2017, like a super heavy commercial heavy kind of way. You know what I mean? So I don't know that, and so, but those are
Right.
also like some of the last superstars, right? Like nobody's gonna be like famous for real. Like you kind of talk about like a Uzi album, or you talk about, and I think that maybe that's the only like reason to create albums if
Yeah,
you kind of already like building a machine that's gonna gear you to superstardom. But other than that, you kind of gotta. It's a
and
challenge to
make
the artist to
excellent
step
ass
it up
albums.
and do your best. You know,
Hmm
3 minutes and 50 seconds possible. You know what I mean? Because you really you got the length of a
I
song,
think,
and you really only got like the first minute
yeah,
of a song.
that's what I was about to
Because I'll
say.
skip
Low
through
key,
some
I
shit
feel
on the
like niggas
playlist
just
in a
don't
minute.
even need to do whole ass songs no more. Do albums, but don't even do whole ass songs. Like niggas 9 times out of
Mm-hmm.
10, depending on who you are, they vibing through with that first verse, and then you know what I'm saying. Nigga, we ain't got time to really.
It's
If
like,
you
all right,
can
what's
make a
next?
whole ass album, I would do it. I'd be the one to try to do it.
That's some super
Get
drug
that
culture
attention
type
span.
shit too, though. It's just like, you know, how what's the next
Yeah,
endorsement,
absolutely.
you
I
know,
was
boost I can catch real quick.
you could do like a
What's the next
let's say if
dopamine
Jay
hit? You know
did
what I
four
mean?
four four right
Like,
and put every song was like just one verse that wasn't specifically 16 bars, but enough to where it's gonna be like, okay, this feel like an entire song is but it's more like just one long verse and a hook beforehand and a hook after.
well, you know, he
Yeah,
good for
absolutely.
playing with like song structure and shit.
Absolutely.
Him
But
and
I just thought about that, like, because why do we have to appeal? A lot of stuff was just being done because of radio. You know what I'm saying? Like, who was saying that?
exactly.
Was it Royce? I was watching his interview and he was talking about like how when they submitted Boom to radio, they were telling him, "Oh, you need to have a hook for this because for radio it needs to be a chorus or something." And I mean, he was saying like they basically dropped the ball and had to add a hook that he wasn't really feeling to Boom when the original was just fine itself. It had a big ass buzz and it was dope itself with just the cuts and scratches on there. The boom, boom, bam, god damn, like it ain't need a hook really. That was the hook. And
Right.
it was the radio, yo, you need to add a hook
And it's so crazy, right? Because like we
uh
talking about, what's that, like 15 years
yeah,
ago,
absolutely.
almost 20. And so that's like, you know, back then, like it was radio telling you like what you need, and in Detroit especially, it was always why can't artists and radio work better together? And radio will be like, you got to do this and that. But I just
Uh
came from a
yeah,
Google
kicking about
event
that because
about
I
a
forgot all
week or
about
two
that.
ago, and hey, like it was dope. So it was a Google panel with one of their digital coaches. Shout out to Katrina Turnbow out there in Birmingham, and she had like led a really cool panel. It was a whole bunch of people from like 9, 10 a.m. and Atlantic Records and like Empire Entertainment, and so
Hey,
and a Digital Lung. Shout out to April Woodward. Uh, yeah. So they just was like kicking it about, like what it takes to like make it in the industry. But one of the things that they really emphasized, even in the digital age, is that artists, especially indie artists, really have the leverage because the
yeah,
labels don't have the money to spend at radio, and radio need to play somebody records. You know what I mean? So it's not a thing that a lot of people take advantage of or like think is really
So you
important,
can
but it
you
really
can
is, you
go.
know.
You saying you can have a
And
indie artist could basically kind of use that to their leverage to the sense where it could be like, well, not necessarily an artist, but let's say a manager or somebody that's a
mhm.
rep for them, and just go up there like, yo, listen, this joint is hot. It got a buzz independently. Hey, look, radio. We
Yeah.
know the major labels ain't really got the budget to cut it to keep getting these records spent here. So
Well, no, you oh
I'm
man,
saying
if
in a,
you
in
say
a,
some
in a
shit like
very
that, they gonna
professional
get
way,
you up
not
out of
quite
there,
like how I'm
man.
saying it, but like in a way that
Yeah, like no, like you don't even bring up that part. Like that's what I tell my clients. It's like you just kind of, you
mm-hmm.
just talk to people and ask them for what you want. You don't even got to try to sell yourself super hard. But like everything is about like super coded language, and like even the
Man,
internet,
that
like
shit matters so
meta
much.
tags and shit. The way that Google works. So like everything is about keywords and knowing the lingo. And if you could say the right thing to a motherfucker, it'll automatically get their attention because like it's kind of,
Right.
what people train themselves to do is to identify you by how you present yourself, how you talk, how you dress, the way
That's
you
real.
carry yourself. So, but you still got to do what's true to you though,
Exactly.
because you could still be hitting out a mark and a
Exactly.
nigga, could see you fake from a mile away. And that's just kind of the thing of the internet is that like a lot of the time like the digital presentation and the way we curate social media and shit, like it looks good, but when you get to the actual
Yeah.
talent and the personality and shit, it's lacking, or you could that it's not really who the artist is, and it don't really have to be that way because the internet is a dope place. Like it really, the speed and the
Yeah,
distance
I was
that
I was reading
information can
about that,
travel.
and
You know what
it
I'm
was an ebook that I have called the Behind the Scenes of the Six Figure Musician or something like that, or Behind the Scenes of the Six Figure Music, whatever, something like that, by Leah McHenry. I want to say she's a country slash like pop artist, independent. But anyway, one of the points that they were stressing about that was, like you say, just the being authentic piece as far as social media. Like you have to kind of when you post, it doesn't even have to always be you like selling your brand. I don't want to say brand, your music, basically, right?
Well, no, because people
It,
don't sell music. They sell their brand or
yeah,
like
that's what I
who
was gonna
they
say. You're
who they
like
believe
selling
they
a
should be. You know what
it's
I
a
mean?
package deal pretty much. Like you selling you, pretty much, right? So one thing she was saying was like 10%
Yeah.
to in fact, y'all can. She's on. I want to try to get her on the podcast too, just from that perspective of her genre, because she's like pop, country, or something like that. I forget, but just to get it from that perspective, she was even saying like, if you notice, like 10 to 20% of my posts on social media aren't even about my music. So it was like, but what she does post is what's relatable to people, and it's like it's her being her. Like she's a mom, she doesn't overdo it like
Exactly.
with the mom thing, like, yo, look, I'm always with my kids, that type of shit or nothing like that. But as far as like tips and pointers on being an independent musician, and I started thinking about that, I said, well, dang, that's crazy because I do that often. Like now, I'm more so when I'm posting online, you might get a quote or two from me. You would get me promoting my music because it's like, duh, I'm a music artist, and but
Hmm.
at the same time, it's like I'll throw shit up there that we talk about on the podcast. Like I just put up one about the whole thing of marketing yourself online. Like you can't. It's not just about you having the talent or the
Hmm.
skill set. You got to actually market yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like in a sense. So take the time to do that. It's called
No,
like launching your music online. Be basically like have an effective marketing point or something. I forget.
no, absolutely. So no, I definitely feel where you coming from too. And like for some people, it do just work better to kind of like do your day to day and shit like that. But for somebody like me, my mind is just like always already all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm working on like 100 different people's shit. So like I have an account for Humble Fly, which is at Humble Fly, just one word, HUMBLEFLEI. And then I have my personal
Right.
page, art.dealer.dean. But even Art Dealer Dean is still like a really specially curated page. And it's not so much that I'm trying to give off a certain quality because I am, but that's not really the point. Like, as a brand manager, it's important to me
Yeah.
that, I lead by example as far as like using my imagination and like being out and touching the people and shit. So like that's what I make my page about. So I'll use my story, and this is just like free game for anybody listening. I'll use my story to show what
Right.
I'm doing that day. If I'm going to meet somebody, or if I'm hanging at the DIA, or if I'm just doing me and I feel like being on the camera or showing what I'm doing. But as far as the page itself, like the pictures that I post,
Yeah.
I was doing the gold tinted glasses thing earlier this year, and I'm just kind of working on that and developing more inspiration for it. But in the meantime, I'll post if I go out somewhere, and then I'll make like really good use of that archive tool. But like what happens is people get real lazy. Like we learned like 3 to 5 years ago that you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z on social media. And just like, we have a really hard
That's
time
true.
evolving with the times. And sometimes we just run shit into the ground. But like that curation shit is really where it's at, and just kind of like being thoughtful about the shit that you're gonna post, and not just trying to
Exactly.
compete,
And a lot of
for
people
the
do
most
that.
likes or the most engagement by flooding
That's
everybody
very true.
timeline and shit, or like or doing dumb shit, like buying shit to to be, or like buying tickets or buying clothes, or just
It's
like
just like you just randomly
not
throwing
being
some shit up there, like
genuine,
you could tell,
being on
like
some
it's
fake
fake. Like, oh,
shit.
you just trying to see. It's just a thirst for attention, basically. Oh,
No,
that's the worst.
buying
I hate that.
followers,
Like when you get those little them spam bots and shit that like shit on your page or
because
they
it's so
comment. Like
obvious.
you can post some shit like you could just be a random. It could be a quote. It ain't even no fly ass picture. It's just a quote, and you'll get a comment. I love all your pics. Check out our page and for extra likes. Like man, get the fuck out of here. Like what the hell?
Like, leave me alone, bro. Like, just, and so, like, and I think that, like, if people really think critically about what they're doing with the stuff, then they'll probably spend less time on it. And, just naturally, because I know me and you talk about this a lot too. Just like, do you be on social media or I be on social media? Just like, I could really be doing something else. And, like, people complain so much about not having enough
You got to
time
finesse that
to, like, really
multitasking.
do
I
the
think
things
that's the
that they want
problem.
to
Like
do.
people, that's a good term.
You know?
Finesse the multitasking because I think that's what a lot of people probably not doing. It's probably like, yo, I'm just on social media, and man, it ain't shit popping. And then next, like you say, hours get away from you. We've been through that. Like you just be like, damn, I let this fucking whole hour just go by and I ain't get shit done. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like now I learned to manage that shit.
You
Like,
know?
all right, I could be on social media just scrolling sometimes and still getting shit done. You know what I'm saying? Like somehow.
I was gonna say I'm really good at doing like one at a time, but like doing
Right.
like the smallest thing first, just knocking it out, bow, 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 bow. You know what I mean? But other than that, you know, the time goes by. What you find is the same shit that you're doing when you scroll on
Yeah.
Facebook. Like, oh damn, I done fucked around and been on this bitch an hour longer than I expected, or 2 hours, or whatever. Like I can work on a press release, or I could do some shit in Canva, do somebody's website, and that same 2 or 3 hours we done went by. Except
Absolutely. Yeah,
this time I done made
exactly.
some money, or I got something
My guy
finished. I
Red, shout out
completed
to
a
Red.
task.
He was
You
on the
know.
episode of one of the early episodes of the podcast, and he was just saying like, well, Clifford Johnson. I call him Red, but he was just saying that and it's Red because that was his name as a rapper. I don't want people to call him Red, like Red Bone, niggas think, but pause, but
Nigga, shut
but
up.
no, he even like, I seen him put up a status and he was saying like, yo man, like I'm taking a break from this. Yo, if y'all need me, hit me up. And he's active as far as like getting work done. But I text him, I'm like, taking a break, huh? Because it's funny because at the same time I was just kicking in with you and I was telling DDT and about man, sometimes you just gotta be like, yo, I don't need to be on here like this. It's nothing really. I pop in, pop out. And when I told him that, he was like, yeah, man, it's just like
Right.
at some point I found myself just going on there to see what everybody else got going on and wondering if they seen what I've got going on. And it just become a little overwhelming. I'm just taking a break. I'm like, I feel that. That's real. And more people need to start admitting that, like, yo, it ain't
Yeah.
really shit on here. It's a bunch of noise. That's how I felt.
Super wasting time. Like nigga, we looking at memes. Bro. Remember when people used to take
Exactly.
Facebook serious? Now you would see it's deep shit and people whining and complaining. It's like like now it's just like no balance.
It's
It's the
mess
complete
all across the
opposite
board
end
from
of the
Instagram
spectrum.
to
Like
Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, yo,
So and it's
chill.
crazy
Like,
because now I think
exactly.
Instagram went to shit being back in chronological order. Facebook, yeah, I'd rather that.
I like
Facebook
it being in
now is
chronological order.
they're and I was telling you about this before. Damn, that's how I know I ain't recording in a minute. I just been just gathering information and just trying to write. But with Facebook now, they even focusing more for a lot of people who are wondering. Like I see people posting like, man, I'm posting shit on Facebook. What you mean?
Man, Facebook about to go to jail. Facebook about to go to jail, bro. They was selling
Oh
like data
shit!
to the Russians or some shit, or to somebody like they were involved
Wow.
in some kind of data mining scheme. And so,
Right, because I
or
was about to
that's
say
how
it
it's
could be
being
like painted
marketed.
a certain
And
way.
so,
You know what I'm
it
saying?
could be the over. Yeah, but you see how they've been like super aggressive with trying to clean up their act and be
Yeah.
like, oh no, we're gonna make it more of a family thing. And we see reports is coming out that we really like destroying people's lives. So they kind of trying to like Brandon,
They
rebrand
trying to
as
weed out a lot
more
of the
like
bullshit. Like you
humanistic
might
or
even
human
go on there and
focused.
not see as much trash on your timeline. And what they're doing, what I was saying, like even with a lot of the fake, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the satire posts and shit. Oh yeah, this got to be real because it said it on this website, and the website ain't even credible. You know what I'm saying? I'm not seeing that as much if at all. But they're what they're focusing more so on, which is crazy because a lot of people despise groups. They're trying to actually do more to where they're actually and it's basically just to keep you on there more, but they're actually trying to have people engage more in conversation, like actually be social. And that's what they were saying, like groups, you might not be
Mm-hmm.
getting as much attention based on like a regular post, and you know how the algorithms is set up, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like they're focusing a lot more on groups because I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that, and because it's crazy. Remember, I was saying like I'm in a couple of the podcast groups, and it's like I get a lot of notifications for that, and it wasn't happening like that within like last month. Just as of recent, it was like, damn, the notifications jump off in the groups, and it's like what they're
Really?
expecting. What they're expecting,
Mine
and then I
always
hadn't really
been like
been
that.
in groups at all though, except for like the ones I created. But for the most part, they're trying to have it
Mm-hmm.
to where you actually have to put up a post, and it's for people listening because a lot of y'all just be posting stuff, just saying random shit. Just clean the kitchen, and that's it. And it'd be like, yo, like you didn't have to really post that, to be honest. And it's like you ain't getting much engagement. And what happens is Facebook pushes that out the way. Nobody's really seeing it. So it's like you might be wondering, dang, I ain't really getting no likes off me saying to let people know because you posted it to get some attention. Like, so it's like, dang, ain't nobody really like that? No, nobody liked it. Facebook moved it out the way. Get that fuck out of here. So what they doing is they're actually pushing more of the posts where you're pushing people to engage. So if you asking like a question like, hey, you know, which I don't know, which J's y'all like better, the 11s or the 8s or some shit like that, you know, and then a bunch of people comment, it's a conversation now. So it's causing people to actually be social fucking media, right? And so I kind of can rock with that because, like I said, it weeds out a lot of the bullshit of the post who is just random ass shit. Or that's another thing. They're demoting posts. So like you know how you would see stuff come across your timeline. If you don't want to see this cat be abused any longer, share this with a friend. If you're a cat lover, and you know people sharing it, or
Right.
if you love Jesus, you know share this and He'll bless you. You know those type of things, like just to get people to pay attention to what you posting, and so they're gonna start demoting posts like that, basically. So a lot of links. If you're just sharing a
Mm-hmm.
link, that's gonna 9 times out of 10 get demoted. Share the link, give people a reason to engage. Like it's they're bottom line, they focusing more on engagement. A lot of people are on social media not engaging at all. So it's like those posts are getting shoved out the way because of the way the algorithms are set up. I came across a podcast, what is it called? Music marketing something. And it was by accident. You know, sometimes like SoundCloud will recommend like what to listen to, and I had my podcast playlist up, which is crazy. I got a podcast playlist. But anyway, it was going, and one of the episodes went off, and it went to the next show that was kind of like that. And then the show came on. I was just looking. It was talking about like, don't worry, the Facebook algorithms is not over for you or something. It was just giving you tips on how to engage more on social media, and it's just that simple. Really, it's like engage. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's really what it used to be
Mm-hmm.
anyway. But people made it something else.
Well, yeah, people like really because the thing about the internet, and I guess you could kind of like give hip hop credit for it or whatever, is that it really ended up being a place like
Yeah.
where you could make money. and you could like be your own boss or whatever, or you could just like kind of like create a life for yourself. So people like to call it like being fake or whatever, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. But people started using people
Yeah, it
started
feels that way.
living
Well,
by
it is that
marketing
way
techniques.
actually, because I remember saying that before.
Yeah, it's just like no, like
It's
that's
like,
stupid.
okay,
Like,
yeah, you go in there, it's like everybody is selling you something, right? Everybody got something, but that's because,
yeah,
well, if you got a timeline, and some people might have a timeline where it's a bunch of niggas on there that's funny. You know what I'm saying? You control your timeline. You know what I'm saying?
bro.
Oh
Remember
my
you wanted to
goodness.
be in
No,
somebody's
top
top
five
eight.
at first. Then it went from top 5 to top 8. MySpace made it from top 8 to what, top 16, and then
Man,
that was the thing. That became a
it was
problem.
too
Damn, man,
much,
I
and
ain't
it
no
was
top.
like,
Like, dog, man, ain't that serious? But it kind of was serious. Like, oh shit. Like,
or when you wanted to be family
yeah, I
with like your
remember.
friends on
I remember
Facebook.
that being a thing.
You're like, oh, this,
Having a
I have a
MySpace
whole bunch of
page, and at the
cousins and
time, my
shit.
top
Like,
8 was like music artists that I was affiliated with, or producers or whatever. And like the girl I was dating at the time, why I'm not in your top, listen, I'm a
yeah,
music artist. Why it's gonna be? Come on, man. It's like, but then it sound wrong, but it's like it ain't. It's like, come on, man. Like, yo, like,
but even that though, because like, was it even like? I mean, so like, I guess I understand it from like a curation point, like how we use it today. That was a really advanced
yeah,
understanding of how to use MySpace, by the way. Boom, boom.
taking
But
that
she
shit
was probably
personal. Like,
looking at
I
it
ain't in your
like,
top 8. Like,
you know what I mean? Like,
who is
like
that? Who
these
is that?
guys. Come
Like,
on, come
that's
on.
crazy. Yeah, I think at the time I had like Marv, Quest, Black, I think Hex at the time, and it was really like based on who page was just so dope. Like Hex had a dope ass page, and it was a few other people that were like, oh, why ain't in your top 8? It was like, come on, what? Like, are you serious? Like, you ain't even a music artist. Like, but then people take that personal. It was too much, man. That shit was like, come on now. That's crazy. They got MySpace the fuck up out of here.
They super got MySpace to fuck up. Remember Twitter? Remember
Stop,
when?
pump your
Because
brakes. Pump your
that's like
brakes.
so
You ain't on
it's so
Twitter active.
crazy.
Nigga, Twitter is still the shit. I don't know what you talking about.
Twitter is still the shit,
Dog,
I
that's your
suppose, but
lane. That's
I
your
ain't even gonna
lane.
lie. I left Twitter. I left it
Oh,
because
you
I
ham
wasn't
ass.
popular, nigga. I wasn't a big part of Black Twitter, nigga. I
That's some
wasn't a
bullshit.
socialite in Detroit like that at the time. Still not like that, low key. So I was just
You
like,
did like Red. That nigga was
I
like,
got more love
man,
on
fuck
Facebook. So
y'all. I
I'm
went
like, fuck
somewhere
it.
else.
Nigga, I took my
Nigga
ball
went
home.
somewhere else. I'm
Like,
going to Facebook. Like,
yeah, nigga, I had engagements over there, and then like compared to like to the shit that like people like comment or like now, like I didn't have nearly the
I
engagement
think
that I
with
thought
some
I
music
did
artists, though,
on
it really kind
Facebook.
of scales back to like
I just,
Instagram, honestly.
my Instagram used to be super whack
Instagram
too. I
just
used to have like
seems
5 and 6
the
likes or like
place
little
like
shit
that's
like that.
good for music artists, I think. Cause now you got the sponsor ads, you know, you could do that. I mean, you could do it on Twitter. Like they just sent me an email with something about Twitter with the promotion. I thought they had this already, but it's something that they don't revamp now. And it's like you pay a flat monthly fee. I'm like, all right, no thanks, Twitter, because shit can really get lost on Twitter. Instagram is visual, so you can kind of see it more. So Twitter is like it's 9 times out of 10 a link. Yeah,
You're
so it's
more
like,
likely to
nah, I'm
screenshot it or
cool
some
on that.
shit.
Like, but Instagram just is like kind of more of where I get many of my engagements as far as like music. You know, like you might post some shit, promote it in here, and then you might
Mm.
have somebody, hey, send your DM, hey, check my music out. You know, it's like I didn't post it for that, bro. Like, but whatever. If it's dope, I mean, I'm gonna check you out. If it's dope, I'll let you know. I can't really do nothing for you. Listen to my podcast. Like,
On I done made a lot of shit happen business wise
and for
in the
me, we're
Instagram
oddly
DM.
my personal Facebook page. Like niggas don't give a fuck about your fan page as far as engaging, as far as business. They gonna search that somebody
Oh
tagged
hell
you
no.
and put your performance name in parentheses, and they gonna find you there, and they gonna try to add you there. And it's like, if I don't know you, it's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not adding you. Please go to the fan page. Like, come on, man.
You know what though? Like the fan page is really some shit that you use to support like your
Yeah,
position when you approaching businesses and
yeah,
stuff. Like that's how I advise that you use it. Because as far as your engagements and shit, it's like your website for people
exactly.
who find out about you
And
on
just and to
Facebook and
jump
don't want to
back
leave
to where we
Facebook.
was as far as because I don't want to get too far off the whole shit with the playlist because all of it tie into each other. The same shit with the
Oh
It
yeah,
all got
because it's all a part of the same culture.
like
It's just
related
really
to algorithms, right? Now we had you got the ebook and then shot it over to me. The How to Use Spotify playlist book. It was just talking about launching your career in music. Playlists are an important piece, if not the most important piece in doing that. Here's why. It's by George Goodrick, by the way. It's an ebook. Y'all can look it up. We're not sending it to you. But basically, it was saying like, fuck paying all that the expensive money, and it's kind of like they shitting on people like you who got like humble fly, But it was just basically saying like, fuck the not dissing it, but just saying like you could save yourself more money by just trying to get on a popping Spotify playlist or a good number of playlists to get your single moving. And I get it, it makes sense. And they was just giving some pointers about it. But I screenshotted this one thing that it said, and it was I'm finding it out because I don't want to carry on too long. So we don't want to have too long of a podcast episode. But what it said was, where is it at? I have it right here. He said, if your music, like, everybody put their music on the platforms now. Yo, check me out, I'm on Spotify. But he basically said if your music is on Spotify but not on a playlist, it is simply floating around in the ether. He said it might as well be lost in the basement of Spotify's headquarters in Stockholm. Music streaming is basically, he said, music services like Spotify are in the arms race for catalog fulfillment. They want to have more music that caters to more people. What happens is they get overloaded with low quality music that just sits there and it gets no play. He said, so when independent artists put their music on Spotify, it is easy for them to go completely unnoticed unless they make their way onto an official Spotify playlist. I was like, damn. So it's
that's
like,
true though.
You an indie artist and you just putting your shit out there, yo, check me on Spotify. Unless you already got a good enough following that's pushing that, like, yo, everybody checking it out, and they stream you. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's almost like you going completely unnoticed. And what made me when I read that, I was like, you know what? Let me go to my artist Spotify profile here, and I look and see and trying to see what playlist is on. I think I'm on about like maybe 5 or 6. It's a couple joints off the EP, and the rest are like older. So I think Back on My Shit, the Sky Zoo track. That's featured on some playlist somewhere. It's like it says some boom bap hip hop. I screenshot it and posted for cats. It was some boom bap hip hop playlist. The old joint that I did with Jamal Bufford, Buff One, shout out to him. And it was a couple other joints, and I was like, dang, that's wild. Like he basically was dropping tips. Like I say, the book is called How to Use Spotify Playlists. It's by George Goodrick. It's an ebook. It ain't too long. I think total is about like maybe 22 pages or something like that. But yeah, it was he was just giving you pointers and tips, saying like, you might want to follow the head of Spotify on Twitter and like get in contact with him there. He was just saying looking how you can get on some of these playlists, and I'm giving free game. So I did this last episode. We had Nicole on there. She was giving free game about music licensing. Here we are telling y'all about how to get on these playlists or how to attempt to get on the playlist. He was saying like, go on LinkedIn. Oh, that shit sound foreign. He's like, LinkedIn? Oh, nigga, I ain't on there. Well, you need to have a LinkedIn page and utilize that shit, because he was basically saying that's where a lot of those playlist curators are at. Go on there, add them, hit them up, even give you a breakdown on how to get in contact, how to approach these people. You know what I'm saying? He gives you the blueprint, like literally in writing, like, okay, this is what you want to say, insert name here. And then he even gives you the follow-up approach. So, and it's like, it's right there in the book. And basically, like, that's how you find them. 9 times out of 10, they're going to respond. If they don't, hit them with the follow-up. He gave like some links to a few of the pages on Facebook on the playlist, and it's like just reaching out to them. And it's like, that shit taking over.
Yeah. And so that's the way that it's good, and that's the way that it empowers artists, because again, like indie artists are really like in control of their own careers right now. And so like, I don't want anybody to look at me as a brand manager as like somebody who's like a traditional manager who come in and try to run your shit or finance shit, because I'm really just kind of there to administrate and support like the things that you're doing and help you get, help you make sense of all the information that you come across. And on exactly.
It's like you
So
just
that's the
paid me,
cool
but you're
thing
gonna get
about being
something
a
out of
brand
this, basically.
manager.
And it's like salute to that, because a lot
What
of
you gonna
dudes, it's
is
like, and it says that in there. Some people just, you pay them up front and you don't really get nothing out of it. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
yep,
It's career maintenance.
that shit
It's
is
like an
deep,
oil
man.
change for your car. But like it is. But what the curators do, or what the people with the playlist do, and why it's good for indie artists is because they do get to build that direct relationship. And that's the kind of thing. Like sometimes
Yeah,
that's why I'm like weary of them workbooks and stuff, because a lot of the time you come across that stuff, and it's basically like trying to like steer
yep.
you towards letting the industry get
I
back
thought
in
it was just
control of
me
the
who thought
marketplace.
that, and I was like, how I know these people? Because clearly it's Spotify.
Mm,
Obviously, nigga, they ain't ties with the labels and everything. So it's like the guy that wrote it,
Uh, that's how
and it's,
that's how
it's
labels
crazy
are
because the guy
finding
that
their
wrote it,
people
George
though.
Goodrick, I'm
Like,
like, is he in position? I'm gonna Google him. I'm like, is he in any position at Spotify? Because as we know, Spotify got ties in with these major labels. So could this be him?
uh,
Just having my theories. Like, is this him? Like, writing this and just trying, like you say, putting the power back in the hands of the labels. Because I'm like, yeah, it's good to be on these playlists, but it goes back to what we were talking about as far as like full length projects that ain't necessarily 17 songs or more. But it goes back to saying like that
uh,
experience that you have. Like, I'm trying to think about albums that came out where I experienced something. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's like a playlist kind of takes away from that. I promote it and say, hey, add it to a playlist or whatever. Cause yeah, I would want you to hear my music. Then you listen out to some shit. Yeah,
yeah, that's just smart. You want to get your streams up.
cover
You
every
want to get
avenue
your
possible. Cause
impressions
you
up.
got some people. I seen this shit with a indie artist,
Yeah,
the MC Rock Marciano, and he had the whole thing where he put it on his website, and it was like you can't even. I think he charged like 30 for copies of his album, and niggas bought it. I think you had to
yeah.
download it.
And I
Yeah,
think that's
very
an
very dope.
excellent
And he
idea.
was like, I'm debating whether or not I want to put it on the streaming platforms and everything. He said, but my whole point of doing this was basically like you putting this shit out there. Granted, depending on what service distribution service you went with, okay, you get 100% of your royalties and everything, but this is still after the labels and everything that's tied in with these platforms done got they cut. So you ain't really seeing shit. It's like you
Right,
seeing what you getting after they done got everything. So you know what I'm saying? So and
right.
nobody's still like, it's a beautiful thing with the streaming, but at the same time nobody's really figured it out. Cause on one end, I'm hearing Rock Marciano talk about this, but then on the other end, and shout out to Nipsey because he got a dope album. I'm and so does Rock, by the way, Rock Marciano. But on the other end, I'm hearing Nipsey talk about how great streaming is. He's like, because it's almost like back in the day we would have to, if we lost the album, we have to buy it over. You know what I'm saying? And people would lose albums countless times. Like, damn, I gotta. But with streaming, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a real consumer problem. Your tape will
yeah,
pop, your record will scratch,
skipping
your
on your
CD will
favorite
scratch.
song.
You
Yep,
lose,
that.
somebody
Oh no,
jack
shout
your
out to
shit.
Point.
So I understand that. But so like the ability to stream music is important in that sense. And that's why I think you should package physical
Yeah,
merchandise with the streaming clothes
and
or
they have
something
that
that
with
allows you
Spotify too.
digital
Like even with the
access.
touring, you can. I think what they had it with Spotify. I don't know if they have it anymore, but there was like a link where you can include if. And this is for the people that's connected through artist.spotify.com. You were able to add like a link for merch or something like that, or tie in like your merch. But it was like a specific merch company that they use that you would have to do it through, which is still cool. You know what I'm saying? And then they still got the thing about the touring,
Yeah.
which was connected to Songkick, which is, I think they're going out of business or have already, but they still got it to where like you can set it up to show you touring.
Mm.
That's real cool. Spotify got like they thumb on the culture right now.
Well, no, that shit is cool as hell. And I think that like, streaming platforms being like a turnkey service for artists where you could get like distribution and merch development and like sort of kind of have representation by somebody, like that's cool. But I think what we forget at the end of the day is that you have
Yep.
the ability to
Yep.
do all of that shit yourself. You know what I mean? And so like when you get a Rock Marciano, like Nipsey
Yeah,
know the difference
exactly.
because he done did it both ways, and now he kind of gets paid to, you know, market a different perspective or more mature perspective on the industry because you know
Yeah.
he got the money to do so, and so like he ain't sell out, but you know he got into a situation that was
It's like
agreeable for him, and so now he don't have
with
an issue
streaming, it's like,
that's worth
yeah,
speaking
if
on no
somebody
more.
can continuously stream my music over and over and over and over again, and it's almost like it'll add up to what would be equivalent to that $9.99 off one purchase, but they gotta continuously stream it. That's the crazy part about it. It's like, damn, I hope they get that fixed. Because remember, I used to be like, damn, why can't a full stream count as if for a song as $1? You know, if they stream it one time.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's too many hands in the pot. Anytime people gotta split a fraction of a penny, that sound
Like
like it's more than
we
a
see
hundred
the
people involved.
shit
You know what
float
I
around. That
mean?
speaks to what you
Or
was just saying. We see the pic float around or the stats roll around where it say like we don't even want to count YouTube. Well, I guess we'll count YouTube. 1 million streams on YouTube is, I think it's equivalent to like $690. This is what the artists get after everybody has had their hand in the pot with Spotify. We just going off if it's a million. 1 million streams is like 4370 or something like that. 4,000, I should say. I don't want people to think they just get $43 off 1 million streams, but 4,370. That's what Spotify. Apple pay a little more, I think, off 1 million streams. It's like a little over 7,000. This could be. I think this is like old information. I don't know if it's changed now because I think they did put through that. I don't know if it's official through Congress yet with the Music Modernization Act that is going to be more being paid out based off that. But I know before it was like Tidal, you got like a little over 1,200 or something, and or like 12. It was like, no, it was 12,000. My fault. And I think which is a lot based off 1 million. I mean, for an indie artist, like you get that off 1 million streams, but it's like still damn. And I think with Amazon, it was like the least. It was about like no. With Amazon, it was more than, it was like neck and neck with YouTube. And it's like, damn, like that's after, like you said, everybody done got their hand in the pot. So I wonder, will it ever get to a point?
mm-hmm.
And I'm optimistic about it to where like, okay, it used to be somebody buy your single, let's say that was a 99 cents or $1 and change or whatever, to where like if somebody stream your entire song, they have to stream the entire song though, where you get $1.
Yeah, man. I think that at the end of the day, like it probably will get better. But I think what it takes is more of
Yeah.
us being like a Rock Marciano or being like a Nipsey Hussle, and kind of just creating like painters. You know, they still paint
High
and they
end,
charge
high
what
end
they want for their paintings or
prices you be
whatever.
seeing.
But even when they afford, even when the art is
It's
affordable,
like
it's still
how when
substantial
people go
for
to the
it to be a piece
galleries
of
and
art. You know
you
what
know
I
you may
mean?
see it on TV or something, people like this piece is such $1,000. What the fuck? Why? He just painting a blue circle. Like,
Well, no, well, I think, but not even just that, because like you know, if he feel
yeah,
like that blue circle is worth $7,000, then that's his right. And the thing that recording artists don't have is they don't have the power to name their price for real
yep.
unless they take an alternative route, like selling their music online or only
Even if you got
distributing it
Bandcamp,
physically
you
or
can do
whatever.
that.
And
Because
so
you
I
can do
like,
that on Bandcamp. You could be like, all right, this album is 10 tracks, nigga. It's $75.43, and everybody buy it. But Bandcamp gonna
yeah.
take their cut, and you only getting so much back. It's like, fuck, man, shit. So,
I mean, every like those
yeah,
kind of people, they like a third party
right,
merchant. So at the
exactly.
end of the day, they got to get their money. But you gotta make some kind of effort to be fair.
Yeah,
And Bandcamp
absolutely.
is probably more fair
But
than a lot of
niggas
people.
fuck with it on the indie
But
scene, but it's like on a more wider scale, niggas don't, because it's like it ain't the popular shit. It ain't Spotify. It ain't,
mhm.
you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, but
Yeah.
that's kind of on Bandcamp too, because you have to look the part at least. And like if we don't know nothing about today's society, we know that you have to look the part in
Here's
order for people to believe you.
here's
And
what
that's
Bandcamp
that's
can
for
kill it,
better or
and
for
that's probably
worse.
another topic. And I'm gonna close out after this. We're gonna drop our social media handles. I think where Bandcamp would kill it is like
Uh,
right now they got it to where you can strictly just you could play the artist music, but you can buy it, you download it or whatever, right? Pay them, pay for it or whatever. I think if they incorporate a streaming aspect there to where you can go like the people that's already consistently, because Bandcamp, oh believe me, that's another topic. I get it. Maybe we might cover that next. They paid I'm not sure, but I'm just putting it out there. I think they recently paid, damn, was it 7 billion? I could be wrong. It was like 7. Let me find it. Hold on right quick. Let me this is how you know it's a podcast. This shit raw. I'm searching for shit. Because I didn't think I would bring this up as a point. But it was some millions that they paid out. I don't want to leave it on millions because I could be wrong. And I'm gonna be like, damn, it was more than what I thought. Fuck, I got it in here. Bandcamp. They paid out a lot. They paid out a lot to independent artists. I can't find it right now, but it was a lot paid out to independent artists. It was like, shit, that lets you know right there. Like, it's still, people are still buying music, but imagine if Bandcamp was like, all right, yo, we got it now to where you can stream, artists can gain income based off people just coming here to play your music, like as if they were to go to Spotify. And we got it to where you can make playlists off the music of, I guess, the independent artists here.
They probably trying to, get funding to do all of that. Cause like, Spotify, not Spotify, but SoundCloud is pretty much the same way in the sense that, they have like a really interactive free tier, but they also got like really lit
I need to find
paid
out.
products too. And
I gotta find out.
Distributions or whatever.
Get Bandcamp on the like the nigga that, like the person that owns it last name is really Bandcamp or some shit.
But that's the shit though. Like if I could say one final thing, is just like all of these niggas is scrambling for money, and that's why you got label money at Spotify and shit like that. It's because you could take a company like SoundCloud, who could get like funding through all of these venture capitals and board members and shit, and still not turn over a profit in all the time that they've been out. And Spotify had the same problem when they was going through their series of funding. And it might be preventing them from going public if they had, unless they already are, and I think they might be public. But I know for a long time it was holding them up.
Well, go ahead. What's your comment? What you saying?
No, it was just like the moral of the story is like independent artists really got it, and like so like these tools are nothing but that, and like they work as good as the indie artists work. So it's just an encouragement for everybody to work. Really
it's funny because you was talking about like the whole thing with branding and streaming and everything, and how that's important. But then it's like I just seen another write up or whatever, because that's what I want to do. I want to do a lot of these podcast episodes based off of like how we did today, based off like ebooks and just based off like certain topics that's informative. And that's what I wanted to say earlier too. But just to close it out, I wanted to be informative to where you could listen. It's like, oh damn, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never really want this podcast to be like the whole keeping up with what's going on in pop culture and dropping week after week after week. If I can do that with informative, topics, then cool. But I think this was a good episode because of that. It was informative. Like a lot of shit maybe indie artists wasn't thinking of, or they basically just learned something new. But this right here, why Spotify thinks its self-driving music strategy would benefit creators. The whole automate a lot of them self-driving cars and shit now. So that's a whole nother topic. That's crazy. Robots taking over. And are artists finally profiting from the streaming? Look at all these topics we can cover. Oh, it's going down. Yes, I'm back. More episodes coming soon from the LABL podcast, Leading Be Legendary label. Whatever you want to call it, just look it up, LABL podcast. Man, what can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at art period dealer DEALER period Dean. That's D as in dog, E as in elephant, A as in apple, N as in November. Shout out to my armed services. Had to hit a phonetic alphabet real quick.
Man, I hope they don't clown us. We done said some corny shit.
Shout out to all my niggas who work in the call center. Got to learn that phonetic alphabet. But yeah, man, that's where I be at. Instagram, art dealer, then art.
I like saying some shit with the alphabet, like you just wouldn't even see that coming. Like B as in bronze, like what? Like the fuck? C as in
it sounds like
C as in carpet lint. Like what the fuck? Like oh, that's hilarious, man. Y'all can find me on Twitter at nametag ALXNDR. I'm gonna try to fix that so it's just nametag Alexander. They ain't let me put all the letters in there. At Instagram it's on at nametag Alexander, just flat out. Same thing on Facebook. And then also the social media platforms for Lead and Be Legendary at LABL Music on Instagram and Twitter. Lead and Be Legendary on Facebook as well. Website is leadandbelegendary.net. Like I say, on Spotify, just type in hashtag nice out. You're going to find a little dope, playlist I put together. I ain't even say curated. Oh, that's another word I'm hating now. But yeah, playlist. Man, it's
Why
like
do you
it
hate
gets so.
buzzwords so much?
Like,
You hate everything. You an
yeah, you
old ass
damn right.
man. You over
I
here
am.
saying, what did you say
Posse.
earlier?
Yeah. So,
Posse.
leadingbelegendary.net. That's where you can find all the things that's going on with me and the posse. Make sure y'all cop some merch. leadingbelegendary.net. Like I say, the playlist, Nice Out, I got it available now. So I ain't gonna say available. I don't own those songs. I just got my joint on here. But yeah, check it out, share it, let me know what you think. I'll put the link in the description once this episode is up. And what else? Am I missing anything else? Probably not. Yeah, man, that's it. And we out.